Hey there, Holy Spirit Anglican Church. Father Brian here. I wanted to give you a little update and shed a little light onto our COVID policy and the process that we are in as we continue to try to navigate through this life under the pandemic / moving into endemic, whatever that means. So in this video, I want to clarify, how is this decision made? How are these decisions made? Also, what sort of principles are we hoping to use as we make these decisions? And then finally, what's the invitation for us as we seek to be formed as disciples of Jesus, even as we walk through this time? First, I've got to be brief in this video because our attention span is brief. So in terms of the process for how this decision is made about how we do the COVID policy thing, the responsibility for that decision falls to me as the rector who has oversight over the worship life of the church. Throughout the last year, really since I came back from sabbatical, has been a heightened time of this. I've tried to listen to the vestry and to the congregation and continue to do that. But just for you to know that ultimately the responsibility for the decision does fall on the rector, for good or for ill, happily or less than happily. I get to be the one that makes the call here, so pray for me. But I am hoping to embody a good listening spirit as we go through this. Second, what sort of principles should we expect to use as we make this decision? We had a conversation in the staff meeting just recently to really articulate those of, okay, what does it take to make this decision in the best way, or these decisions in the best way? And we certainly identified that the highest value for us is love as a Christian community. We want to do things together. We want to do things in a way that helps us all to realize that we are a part of this body and that none of us is being left out as we work through it. We want to be those who listen well to one another and also to the community at large. So listening to the requirements, recommendations, suggestions of governmental agencies, that we're listening to the data and things like that. And finally, that we want to prioritize embodied worship, that's a real value for us as Anglicans. Now, shaking all these principles together doesn't make for an easy decision, but it does help us to clarify what is important for us as we walk through this time together. And finally, because it's not easy, I just wanted to invite us to take a certain stance in this process. It's easy to get tired. It's easy to get frustrated. I'm tired. I'm getting frustrated. It's okay. But the invitation for us is to be formed in this time, to really love one another well in the name of Christ. And that involves bearing one another's burdens. So let's take that on. Even in the midst of our frustrations, it's okay to vent. It's okay to have our own opinions and things like that, certainly. But also there's an invitation from Christ to think through the eyes of the other, of who are the people who maybe are on the other end of concern from us, and what must it be like for them, and how can I love them well through this? Even as we continue to grapple with listening to feedback as we are right now of what sort of changes can we make, should we make, these sorts of things to love one another well through it. The worst case scenario would be the opposite, where we begin to malign one another and identify one another as the problem or the enemy. And we don't want to get there. So let's walk towards love. So that's the broader invitation. I think the more specific invitation is to communicate with me and with the vestry. We've put a feedback form together that's linked in this video, and you can also reach out to me via text, email, phone call. You can reach out to any vestry member that we're here to listen to you as we walk through this process together.